The more you want something, the more its absence is uncomfortable. The more you want it, the more you dig into it, usually the more active it is. You're supposed to feel good, and when you don't, something's off. You can't have a solution without, are you taking the expansion or are you beating the drum that caused the expansion? You are appreciating the expansion of your desire? No. Well, in the early stages of launching desire, sometimes it is a bit dicey because in the contrasting experience, there is often some knowing what you don't want on your way to knowing what you do want. And you have to really know the process. You have to know that it is a three-step process and that in the knowing of what you don't want, there is an equivalent vibration of what you do want. In other words, on the other side of the wave. So the more you want something, the more its absence is uncomfortable. And the more the absence of something that you want is uncomfortable, the more you want it. But the whole process of deliberate creating is about deliberate vibration. It's about deliberately contouring your thought in order to achieve a vibrational frequency with who you really are, with what you really want. So we notice as we watch you that sometimes you are better at it than others. And sometimes you talk about it as if it is a sort of mind control. And it is to a certain extent, because focusing is about deciding. It's about determination. It's about deciding what you are going to think about and then thinking about it. But it's not only about that, because law of attraction plays a very big role in all of this. In other words, what you've recently been thinking about is active in your vibration. And what's active in your vibration sets up the parameters of what's available to you. So it's not like you can really know what you don't want and then just jump immediately to clarity about what you do want, even though it is known because it is the other side of the wave. But it's not known by you when you're focused upon what you really don't want. It is, however, known by the larger part of you, who you don't have access to right now when you're focused upon what you don't want. It's just such an interesting thing. So the harder you try from your place of knowing what you do not want, usually the more you stay in that vibration of what you do not want, because law of attraction just keeps feeding back to you more things like how you feel. And so the more you try to fix it, or the more you try to get clarity about it, the more you dig into it, usually the more active it is. And the more active it is, then the more stuff like it comes to you. And then you say, oh man, I ought to be able to control my mind better than this. And we say, no one can buck the current of law of attraction. It isn't about mind control. It's about finding a vibration that feels good to you, starting out as early as you can in the day or in the thought process about what you do want, and then maintaining the vibrational frequency of that as best you can and milking it from the place of feeling good. That really is the way that you shore up your vibration and hold yourself in the point of attraction that is most pleasing to you. So interesting to watch you, because a lot of times you've decided that you will be determined. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to achieve the relationship I want. I'm going to achieve the financial situation that I want. I'm going to achieve the bodily condition that I want. And in that determination, that is a very wonderful thing. It's so good to know what you want, and it's so good to speak about what you want. But we've been talking for years, and if you've been listening to us at all, you've been hearing us speaking about the law of attraction. Yes, most powerful, significant law in the universe, and the one that your understanding of it will serve you better than all others. And for a while you heard us speaking, and we often do, about the law of deliberate creation. We asked Jerry and Esther to call it the science of deliberate creation, because it really is ongoing and it's unfolding. But then we want to talk to you about the law of allowing. We began calling it the art of allowing, because the only law worth mentioning, really, we don't count gravity, is the law of attraction. But the art of allowing really is what we're talking about here. And it's about managing your vibration. It's about caring enough about how you feel that you tune yourself to the frequency of who you really are. Now, that's the most important thing to talk about. So you know that you are extensions of source energy. You know that, don't you? But you aren't just extensions of source energy in the sense that you were source and here you are an extension of that. You are extensions of source energy in a greater sense, in the sense that you are the ambassador of source energy. You are the leading edge of source energy. You are the pioneers of source energy. You are the physical manifestation of source energy. So here you are as leading edge creators, as enormous, essential catalysts to expansion, sifting and sorting and constantly launching these vibrational rockets. Now, you heard us say just now that when you know what you don't want, at many vibrational levels of your being, you know what you do want. Even consciously, you can say, well, I know I don't want that. I know I do want that. But it's much deeper than that. It's much more sophisticated than that. It's much more constant than that, where in every moment of your perceptual experience, you are launching these rockets, which means the larger part of you is becoming constantly. Now, this is the thing that most of our physical friends do not understand, but is so essential to your understanding if you are to understand your emotions or why you are here or how to be happy. And that is that with every expanding rocket or energy or vibration that exudes from you, and it does constantly all day, every day, that the larger part of you incrementally, and we only use that word because you're shooting the rockets off incrementally, but this larger part of you is incrementally expanding. So that means that the possibility of you getting further, vibrationally speaking, from who you are is something to consider, because every time you know what you don't want, you expand. But the question is, are you taking the expansion or are you beating the drum that caused the expansion? You follow? Because when you know what you don't want, you expand. And if you know what you don't want, you expand some more. And if you talk about what you don't want, you expand some more. And if you join a blog, you expand some more. And those online chat groups, you expand some more. But the question is, are you going with the expansion or are you just causing the expansion? And the way you feel is your indicator of whether you're going with it or whether it's getting out ahead of you. And if it gets out ahead of you, then you don't feel so good. If life causes you to expand and you are not aware of the expansion and doing your work in keeping up with it, then the gap can get wide enough that you can begin to experience some discomfort that is beyond the negative emotion that we love you very much. The negative emotion that, oh, we love you so much. The negative emotion that you have come to accept as part of life. In other words, it feels normal to you to complain. It feels normal for you to feel resentful. It feels normal for you to feel embarrassed or fearful, or it feels normal for you. In other words, you know because you talk to others about the same thing and they tell you they feel the same way. And so you validate your negative emotion because everybody's doing it. And because everybody's doing it, it doesn't feel so weird to you, but it ought to feel weird to you because you're supposed to feel good. And when you don't, something's off, you see. So when we talk about the art of allowing, we're not just talking about you allowing your new car to come or your new home to come or your lover to come or your physical condition to improve. We are talking about that, but not just that. When we talk about the art of allowing, what we're really talking about you allowing is your alignment, your connection, your involvement, your vibrational sameness with your inner being, who keeps taking the expansion and never holds back from it. Your inner being, the source within you, this non-physical part of you, who we are wanting you to understand exists in this vibrational frequency of knowledge and understanding and beingness. Your inner being is not an idea. We would call it an inner idea. It's an inner being, an inner beingness. Your inner being bees. Your inner being is consciousness who bees. Consciousness who is life, who is eternal, who bees. So this inner being has taken all of the expansion that you've offered it through the living of life and is not holding back ever like you may be. So when you're beating the drum of justification or defense or rationalization, well, I feel this way because that happened to me and it shouldn't have happened to me, and that was an injustice that should not have happened, and so I'm just going to stand here in my righteous indignation and join others in my protest against the government or in my protest against this absurd policy that has just happened at work. Do you know they gave us a bonus and then they took it back? It's just ridiculous that they're making all that money and they're not giving nearly enough of it to me, and I'm working so hard and I don't think they are. That righteous indignation is justified maybe, and maybe everybody in your company and beyond would agree with you, but your inner being isn't agreeing with you, and that's the only agreement that is ever important to you. Your inner being stays in a place of positive expectation. No, not positive expectation, because expectation implies it is something yet to come. In positive beingness, because your inner being bees there and does not deviate from it. But when you aren't up to speed with your inner being, then you feel the deviation. Light, slight, severe, strong, that's what negative emotion is. It's your indicator that you're not up to speed with your expansion. Negative emotion is telling you two things. It's telling you first that you're not up to speed, but it's telling you something else really, really important that we so want you to hear. It's telling you you have expanded, the bigger part of you has expanded beyond where you're practiced. Don't you like knowing that? I have expanded beyond what I have learned to allow. Well, you know what that means? If you've expanded beyond what you have learned to allow, that means there's some good times coming to you, because the deliciousness of life, the true essence of life, the part of life that you call exhilaration or adventure, the part of life that you call passion, the part of life that you climb mountains for or that you get into new relationships for, the part of life that you were born for, the part of life that you love the most of all is that moving in the direction of the further expansion. And we really want you to hear us when we say moving in the direction of it, because moving in the direction of it is all that you're ever going to do, because you're never going to catch it. Oh. That doesn't seem right. I'm never going to catch up with who I am. Not really. Because there will always be more that will cause you to expand. And so if you can come to the place where you savor the problem as deliberately and deliciously as you savor the solution, now you're rocking and rolling. Because you can't have a solution without a problem, and you can't have expansion without asking, and you can't ask without contrast, and you can't be alive without that. You can't be here in this physical format without life causing you to know more clearly all day, every day, what you would prefer. So you got that, didn't you? Do you understand that the vibration of a question and the vibration of an answer are different frequencies? But the answer is born from the question. Do you understand that the frequency, the vibrational frequency of a solution is different than the frequency of the problem? But they are tied together in this vibrational wave. In other words, they are equal parts of the same concept. It's why humans talk about duality. We don't follow that conversation too fully, because it takes you off on all kinds of wild goose chases. But it is so nice to know that you are constantly expanding, and that everything you feel, no matter what, is about one thing and one thing only. It's about your personal, in this moment of the feeling, vibrational relationship with that expanded version. Sometimes over the years, Esther has said, as she's standing in a place not feeling so good, and as she's been listening to us long enough to know that the worse she feels, the better we feel. What's up with that? If you were really a non-physical entity that was worth its salt, you'd have empathy for me and you'd come over here and comfort me. And we say, that's the thing that you got to understand and accept and come to adore about your inner being. Your inner being takes the expansion and holds that place marker for you so that you can come into vibrational frequency with it. That's what guidance system is. Esther would say from time to time, Abraham, I think you should come over here and complain with me, because you know I'm right. you know, I'm justified in this complaint. And we say to Esther, we're not coming. Come over here. No, you come over here. Come over here. No, you come over here. And of course, through the years, she's discovered we never come.